So, a very good morning to all of you. I hope everybody can see and hear me clearly. And just saw the clip. Grade Up has now become BYJU'S Exam Prep, and this is the most comprehensive app for preparing for different exams, right? So the editorial analysis which we had earlier, which we continue to still have, will be on the same platform. It is just that you have become a bigger brand anyway, right? So very good morning, all of you can hear me, I hope. Yesterday the class was interrupted because of a technical glitch. We will continue with the same passage which we did yesterday, but I have added two more questions, right? So by now all of you are very familiar with what we do in these sessions. In these sessions we try to understand passages taken from different sources, and we focus on reading line by line. We focus on understanding what the author wants to say. So that's exactly what we will try to do today also, right? And before we go ahead any further, I hope all of you are very familiar with the schedule, the YouTube schedule of BYJU'S Exam Prep. You can see throughout the week you have multiple classes lined up, and these are all designed keeping in mind your requirements, right? So good morning everybody, hope everything is clear, visible, right? Or the audio and video, I think, is all clear, I hope, right? Now, so just to break the ice, let's begin with this question. Many of you might ask me, why am I focusing on short questions which look like critical reasoning? Right. The reason is very simple. If you are able to understand and get to the answer in these questions, passages भी तो यही है, more or less it's the same. I'm not saying 100% same तो नहीं है, right? Not saying that 100% same है. लेकिन even in passages, you have to also take up the same approach, right? If you are good in this, you will naturally be good in passages also, right? So let's start with this. So the question says the above statement implies the following except. So you have to find out something which is not implied, something which is wrong, right? So, and the question which I'm showing you, this is from ZAT. ZAT का एक पुराना paper है, right? So anyway, if you are good in this, you will be naturally good in passages. So let's start with two questions like this. Then we will move on to the passage which we did yesterday. We could not complete it, so we will complete it today. Everybody is reading it, I hope. So start with this. Okay. Are you sure? So Prachi and Alfia Ibrahim contractor are saying answer is D. Are you sure? Is it D? Be very careful. Pinky is also saying answer is D. Makarand thinks the answer is B. What about others? What does the passage say? What does the passage say? Majority is saying answer is D. Right. Majority is saying answer is D. Right. This is where you'll have to understand the relation between a cause and an effect. Right. So, okay, Shivam is saying answer is E. So far, I can only tell you that abhi tak I have got only one person who has got the answer correct. Right, answer correct. Only one person has got it correct so far. Right. So, abhi tak if you notice, so the answer will have to be either B or E. ठीक है. So, D तो नहीं है. It will have to be B or E. Which one is it? Zero in. देखो, implies the above except जो गलत है, that is going to be the answer. Very few people are responding, only around 7-8 of them. And anyway, let me tell you the quick answer quickly. The answer is this, right? If basically means, देखो, this is X and Y. देखो, what does the passage say? The answer is not E, the answer is B. The answer, देखो, what does the passage say is randomness has to be dealt with in order to have some control over your life. So randomness has to be dealt with. Now, and he's saying before you deal with randomness, one must acknowledge its existence. That means acknowledging the existence is a prerequisite. It's almost like saying prerequisite का मतलब क्या है? Before taking the exam CAT, right, or rather let's take it this way, before going to one of the IMs, you have to fill up the form first. Filling up the form is a prerequisite for reaching the IMs. So acknowledging the existence is a prerequisite for dealing with randomness. Does it mean that if you fill up the form, you will reach the IMs? No. So this is why B is the answer. Everybody got it? Right. Now E, if one does not acknowledge, one cannot deal with it effectively. Dekho, the prerequisite is this. This is the prerequisite and this is the outcome. Now, if you do not meet the prerequisite, you will not get the outcome. It's like saying if you do not fill up the form for CAT, you cannot reach the IMs. Matlab, for reaching the IMs, a prerequisite is you have to fill up the form. So prerequisite nahi hoga, the course also will not happen, right? And if you look at C, one can effectively deal with randomness only if one also. When you say only, it is like a prerequisite. So this is also correct. This cannot be the answer. Everyone lives in a random world, right? Dekho, randomness has to be dealt with. That means it is there in everybody's life. So this is something which is likely to be true. Okay? And randomness can be dealt with effectively. It can be dealt with. Tabhi to you are saying it has to be dealt with, and he's telling you a way in which to deal with it. Okay? Everybody got the point? Nikita, no, this is not yesterday's passage. Yesterday's passage abhi humne shuru nahi kiya. This is just a question which will test your understanding, right? This is just one slide question. Everybody understood this, I hope. So the best answer is B, something which does not imply. I hope all of you understood this concept of a prerequisite. It's like saying for life to exist, you require water. Does it mean that wherever there is water, there is life? No, right? But without water, there cannot be life, right? So that is what we have to be careful about. Everybody understood this? Yes, all clear, right? So this is the effect relation between cause and effect. Okay, right? Logic basically, right? So all of you understood, I hope. Yes. Now, before we go ahead any further, I'll give you another question, right? Something like this, right? So, which of the following is certainly not implied in the above verse? Verse basically is like poetry. Poetry jaisa likha hai, right? So, which of the following is not implied in the above verse? Let's read the verse and understand it this way. Verse is like in the form of poetry. Let's see. So perhaps this war will pass. Will pass, matlab this will also be finished, right? Will be something passing basically means getting over. But the shame of this time, so this is like there should be a separate word. Time puts his burning fingers to our faces. Who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? One of you saying that mock analysis would be better. Depends, opinion सबके होते हैं. Important thing is we should actually try to solve questions. Mock analysis will take a lot of time, right? That is like doing a complete एक पूरे mock को analysis करने में it will take 3-4 hours, right? 3-4 hours, if not 3-4 hours, at least 1.5 to 2 hours will be taken, right? So important thing is let's try to solve this question, because eventually if you are able to answer such questions, you will naturally do well in the passages. If you are able to answer this, it means that you have understood this paragraph, right? So no answer so far. Probably your queries, your answers are reaching me very late, right? But I hope everybody. Okay, Mohit is saying the answer is B. Okay. Why? What is the problem in B? What is not implied in B? Humanity gets divided by war, right? So, like the others which divided us, Prachi, obliterate basically means none. Obliterate means to wipe out, खत्म करना. ठीक है? Obliterate means to wipe out. So Himanshu is saying C. So it's a toss up between B and C. Okay. Now, C में क्या problem है? Okay, this is where you have to be very careful. So many people have answered. So it's a Makaran is saying answer is okay. Not implied. A implied है. देखो A implied है. Okay. Right. देखो the best answer to this question. Okay. Okay. Siddharth, reunite after peace. Correct. So the problem is reunite afterwards. ये कहीं नहीं लिखा है. Right. Gets divided ठीक है, but reunites after peace is not given here. So the answer is B. Everybody got it. So I think many of you got it correct this time. I hope everybody understood. The war will pass. मतलब war खत्म होगा like the others which divided us. It does not say that once the war is over, it we get united. Reunion जो है वो है ही नहीं. ठीक है. Killers also get killed in war. यहाँ लिखा हुआ है killing us along with the killers. So killers also get killed. Right. This war is ruthless. The last question: who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? He is speaking about this war only. So this cannot be the answer. This war is shameful. The shame of this time puts its burning fingers to our faces. When he says our faces, you mean entire humanity, right? None can obliterate. What about E? Okay, what about E? Okay, many are saying, okay, why not D? D. This war is shameful to the entire humanity. Just read it now. Look at this. The shame of this time. This time, matlab, this war puts its burning fingers to our faces. Our faces, matlab, whole humanity, not just one person. Right. So that is why C is something which is correct, so it cannot be wrong, right? And this war is shameful. Is it shameful? Yes. The shame of this, is shameful to him. What about ruthless? When you look at this question, who will erase the ruthlessness hidden in innocent blood? He is talking about the war that happened right now, so it caused ruthless. It is also ruthless. So C is also correct, right? Now, what about E? Nobody answered, okay, nobody answered E. None can obliterate the ruthlessness of this war. When you ask a question, ye kaun karega, right? Who will do this? This question is like a complaint that it's an impossible thing to do. So this is what is called a rhetorical question. Okay, right? Okay, now, so Aniket, right, E is the answer. Aniket, it's not exactly, देखो, this is what you call a rhetorical question, right? Who will do this? The person wants to point out that कोई नहीं कर पाएगा, right? That is why the answer to this, yes, in a way, this is what he wants to say in the passage. So the answer is B. Everybody got it? Right. Okay. Aniket, it's burning fingers on our faces. देखो, the shame puts of this time, मतलब shame of what? The shame of the war puts his burning fingers to our faces, मतलब the shame has touched our face. Shame से हमें face में ही the point what is actually it's a poetic way of saying that the shame has affected everybody, right? Affected everybody कौन our faces मतलब every human being. ठीक है, so that is what is the case. All clear, I hope, right? And Sharad Chandra was asking some time ago, obliviate and obliterate. देखो, obliterate means to wipe out. Obliviate basically means to make people forget, right? Or to obscure. So obliterate is more like खत्म करना 100%. ठीक है, all clear, I hope everybody got the point, right? So these two questions, very good starting. This will get the the creative mind, your creative thought process started. Right, now let's continue the passage which we could not finish yesterday. Right, uh, let's see. This is the passage which we just which we did yesterday. No problem, we'll do it again. Right, be very careful, read it for 30 seconds and then we will quickly discuss it. There are just 3-4 slides. Let's see. He starts with the question: if history does not follow any stable rules and if we cannot predict, why study it? This is like a question, right? If history cannot follow any rules, if it cannot predict the future, right, why study it, right? Then he gives you various examples. Meteorologists are people who do weather forecast. They are expected to tell you about the future, right? Economists are expected to know whether the currency will fall in value, right? Precipitate means to happen, to cause very quickly, right? So good doctors foresee whether chemotherapy or radiation will make. So he's giving you multiple examples. In many other fields, experts are expected to predict something about the future. So the same is the case with history, right? So history, right? People expect historians to predict the future, right? So that is what he's saying. So similarly, historians are asked to examine so that we can repeat their wise decisions and avoid their mistakes. So just as other experts are asked to predict something, historians are also expected to learn from the past, avoid the mistakes of the past, and and pick up only the wise decisions. Right, now till here was the general opinion. The author's opinion starts from here. The author's opinion starts from here. Okay, but it never works like that, because the present is different. So the author's opinion is here. He says, but it is not as simple as this. By learning about the past, you cannot bring anything to the present. He also gives you an example, right? Hannibal. Who was Hannibal? Hannibal was a great, general, right? Who attacked Rome, right? He got defeated, वो अलग चीज है, but then so that is, he was a great general, right? So it was a waste of time to study Hannibal tactics in the Second Punic War, right? So as to copy them in the third. He is giving an example. पुराने जमाने के tactics study करके you cannot do anything well, right? And what worked well in cavalry? Cavalry is horse riding soldiers. So in short, the author is of the idea that history is not to be studied to predict the future or to learn from the past. Okay, right? And this is against popular opinion. Everybody has read it, I hope. Now I'm changing the slide. Everybody has read it. Next slide is this. Okay, so first slide, if you read the major part of the first paragraph, it looked like the author was saying, "Acha, history should predict," but that was the opinion of other people. The author does not agree to that. So this is one way of arguing. By you can argue against something, right, by mentioning that thing first. Okay, so that is what the author is doing. Okay, right. Now this slide, this is especially true of history. What is true of history? Right. It is true of history that you cannot learn from the past and benefit from it in the future by history. Okay. Right. Now, though historians occasionally try their hand at prophecy, prophecy is nothing else but predicting the future. Right. So he is telling you history ka aim kya hai, right? The study of history is not to learn from the past or to predict the future on the basis of the past. It is to make us aware of possibilities we do not normally consider. Right. Read this line. Historians study the past not in order to repeat, but in order to be liberated from it. So we study the past to be free from the past. We do not want to be unnecessarily influenced by the past. We do not want the baggage of the past. We want to be free from the past. That is why historians study it. Okay? So this is where he tells you the actual, reason for studying history. Okay? All clear, I hope. Right now, look at this each and every one of us has been born into a historical reality, right? So he's saying all of us are born into a certain context. There is a certain association with the past, right? So we think that this reality is natural, inevitable, and immutable. Immutable means something which is not expected to change, right? So Makaran, what is the aim of, according to the author, the aim of studying history is not to learn from it, but is to be free from it. Getting the point? So that is what we had that is what was the idea. Aniket, what was your question yesterday? Batao, ask it again. You can easily find the answer here, right? Historians study the past not in order to repeat it, but in order to be liberated from it. So you want to be free from the past, right? So the past will give you a certain way of looking at things, right? He says we should be free of that. Okay, getting the point? Everybody understood? So I have changed the slide. I hope everybody read it. This slide, I will give you some time to read. And Aniket, what was your question yesterday? I think I answered it yesterday also. You were speaking about how does the past affect you, right? The past affects you very much, and he is telling you one way in which the past affects you. How does the past affect you? Very simple. Dekho, where after reading history, sometimes you will feel angry with, with a certain country. That is the past affecting you. Aniket, if we do not study history in the first place, how will it influence us? Dekho, the, that is not the question. The author is saying, देखो, history, people study history expecting something, expecting to learn from it. He is saying study history not to learn from it, right? Not to try to replicate what has already happened, but to be free from it, to be able to explore opportunities. And the question, so the aim here is not to carry, the aim is, Aniket, you are taking it completely wrong. If you do not study history, you will be ignorant. If you do not study history, you will not be freedom from the baggage, nahi, you will be ignorant. If you study history, right, it will open new ways of looking at it. So the author is discussing the reason why you should study history, right? And what you're telling me is why you should not study history. That is your opinion, not the author's opinion. Getting the point? ठीक है. माकरन seldom का मतलब क्या होता है? Seldom is very similar to or very close to never. ठीक है. Seldom is very similar to never, right? Never means कभी भी नहीं, right? Seldom is like almost never. So if I say they seldom come here, मतलब they hardly come there. Nikita, what the author is saying is do not just repeat the past. He's saying when you study history, do not be caught by what you learn from history. Do not let history make your vision be, be narrow, right? Study history, right, so that you will be able to widen your thinking. मतलब do not be too much influenced by history. ठीक है? All clear? Look at this. The cold hand of the past emerges from the grave of our ancestors, grips us by the neck, and directs our gaze towards a single future. He's telling you this is how history affects you. History makes you think or tries to make you think in a certain way. He's saying we have to escape from that, right? So therefore we seldom try to shake ourselves free and envision alternative futures. So हम कोशिश नहीं करते. The author is saying we should envision or we should imagine alternative futures. Do not be unnecessarily influenced by the past. ठीक है? Right? All clear, everybody? Right. Now last slide is this. This is where the author tells you what should be done. ठीक है? Right. This is why we should, what is the benefit of studying history? Mahima, why is it written accidental chain of events? Accidental chain of events इसलिए है because whatever happened in the past is not planned. Whatever happened in the past, whatever happens in the past, whatever happens now, right? Are they connected, or are the events जो होता है history में, are they planned by somebody? Or are they just random? So they are random, that is why he says this is accidental. So studying history aims to loosen the grip of the past. It enables us to turn our head this way and that. Matlab, it helps us to look at other alternatives. Right. So we realize how our very thoughts and dreams took shape, and we can begin to think and dream differently. So this is what studying history will not tell us what to choose, but at least is give us more options. Chandan Prasant, which part? This is not the Hindu, by the way, Prasant. By the way, this is an old paper from ZAT 2011, right? So, everybody, including Chandan, right? What I do is in this session, I take up a mix of passages from different articles. Sometimes I do exam papers also. Exam papers bhi karte hai, right? Because eventually the aim is to be able to answer questions. ठीक है, right? So yes, Aniket, the last line, in fact the last paragraph, the last paragraph is telling you why history should be studied. ठीक है, everybody understood? History should be studied not to learn from it, but to be able to look at alternative ways of thinking. So he is telling you history should be studied to make you more aware of other opportunities. ठीक है, all clear, I hope? ठीक है, now let's look at the questions. Based on the passage, which of the following options would be the most appropriate for citizens, right? Not to citizens, right, who learn history. Okay, anyway, एक ही चीज है, right? So something which is in sync with the passage. Look at this. Right. So what does the author say about, learning history? Go according to that. What should be the best answer? Okay, according to the passage, why should we learn, why should we, the aim of learning history, we should not be influenced by history, right? Look at other opportunities, look at other options, look at alternatives. You should not be influenced by history. The closest to that answer is, what is that? Himanshu thinks answer is B. What about others? Okay, B, C, many people, majority saying B, C, D. Okay, Rohit thinks D, Aniket को B लग रहा है, Siddharth C, Shivam C, Payal B, Komal. Okay, so people are giving answers, right? So B, C, D, right? So three choices. Let's see. I'll give you how to eliminate. I'll tell you the way to eliminate. Names of Indian streets should be periodically changed. इससे history का कोई connection नहीं है. Getting the point? Names of Indian streets should be periodically changed. It has nothing to do with history. So this could be because of multiple reasons. So I've eliminated E. Look at B. Names of Indian streets should be based on suggestions generated through an opinion poll. ये तो democracy हो गया. This has got nothing to do with history. So this is also irrelevant. ठीक है? I mean, if you are going by popular choices, right? You are not at all, history से कोई connection ही नहीं है, so you can eliminate D also. Now look at C. British names of India should be changed to Indian names. So what you're doing here is, right, you have read history and you are influenced by it. You are carrying the baggage of the past. That is what the author tells you not to do. Do not carry the baggage of the past, right? The best answer is B. Every street should display a flag that lists all its previous names. That means you are remaining neutral here. So what is happening is you are remaining neutral, right? And if you look at A, British names of streets in India should not be changed. In A, you are supporting what took place in the past. And in C, you are going against what took place in the past. The author is saying you should not do both. Right. You should look at alternatives. The first, so the best answer is B. Here you are remaining neutral. Understood? Right. D and E eliminate ho gaya. This I think everybody will be clear with. But A and C, everybody understood why A and C cannot be the answer. Yes. Everybody got the point? Right. So the best answer is B. Chalo, let's move on to the next question. Everybody understood this, I hope? Yes. Chalo, let's try the next question. Which of the following options is the closest to the essence of the passage? महिबा देखो, the question asked is according to the passage. वो weird है कि नहीं, उससे हमें कुछ नहीं लेना देना. You are supposed to be looking at the hypothetical situation. ठीक है? So hypothetical situation क्या है? You should not be influenced by history, right? You should look at alternative visions. B was the best answer because B में you were remaining neutral. In A and C you were influenced, right? एक में हिस्ट्री से अग्री कर रहे हो, एक में डिसअग्री कर रहे हो, राइट? The author is saying you should not be influenced by history. Okay. Now, okay, Payal, plaque here. The word plaque here means putting up a board, putting up a signboard. ठीक है? Makaran, no, there's no exact group where we share the articles because it's very difficult to pinpoint articles. I can only tell you the sources, which I've already told you. I think, right? Sources are read international magazines, international newspapers. There are millions of articles. Okay. So, Komal, what is the meaning of eclectic? Eclectic basically means having a wide variety of choices, having a wide variety of knowledge, right? So suppose I'll give you, if you say I have an eclectic taste in music, इसका मतलब है I like classical music, I like Carnatic music, I like Western classical, I like Hindi film songs also, I also like folk songs, I also listen to ghazals. So that is eclectic, meaning having a wide range of knowledge, choices, having a wide range of opinions drawn from various sources. If you know the meaning of the word eclectic, right, everybody will say that the answer is this. History has the potential to make us eclectic. What does the author say? Right, widen your vision, do not be bogged down by the past, look for alternative versions. So when you study history, you should use it to look at a wider area. So that is the meaning of eclectic. Okay, so the best answer is that. Now एक बार बताओ, हिस्ट्री लुक एट द एसेंस ऑफ द पैसेज, मतलब द कोर. हिस्ट्री डॉक्यूमेंट्स द पास्ट इवेंट्स रिलेटेड टू स्पेसिफिक पीपल. इज दिस द एसेंस ऑफ द पैसेज? समथिंग विच इज ट्रू इज नॉट ऑलवेज द एसेंस. ठीक है? एवरीबॉडी गॉट द पॉइंट, आई होप, राइट? सो दैट इज द आंसर. आई होप एवरीबॉडी अंडरस्टूड. yes, all clear, I think. Now, this is a question. Read the following sentences, right? और उसके बाद क्या करना है? Which of the following above, if true, would contradict the view of the author? ठीक है? So, you're going to look at something which would be against the view of the author. So, एक से ज़्यादा है, 1, 2, 3, 4. ठीक है? Right. So, ऑथर के व्यूज बहुत है. व्हाट डज ही से? राइट, यू विल हैव टू रिमेंबर एवरीथिंग, राइट? इट इज नॉट जस्ट वन व्यू. हिज आर्ग्यूमेंट might have multiple components, so you'll have to look at something. You can have multiple answers. Let's see. Right. Let's see which of the following, you know, what is to be done. Options are these. Okay. Contradict the view of the author. Read carefully. What does the author say about history and predicting the future? He tells you na, that, he tells you, he gives you the example of Hannibal, remember? Right. So, passage, okay, this should be against the author's view. देखो एक चीज समझ के चलो पैसेज हिमांशु इफ आई शो यू द पैसेज इट इज लाइक इट विल बी कहाँ से पढ़ेंगे क्लियर नहीं है एक बार समझ के देखो राइट व्हाट डज द ऑथर से अबाउट हिस्ट्री प्रिडिक्टिंग द फ्यूचर हैनिबल वाला एग्जांपल जो है right is it 1 2 and 4 1 2 and 4 or 1 and 4 देखो what does the author say about history predicting the future he says what happened in the past we cannot do it now right मतलब हैनिबल ने जो किया था right that was the example which is relevant here हैनिबल में जो किया था बहुत पहले we cannot do it in the third world war right so that was his point of view right so one is definitely if you look at it carefully, one is definitely contradiction because the historian has successfully predicted the future based on the past, and the author was of the opinion that you cannot use the past to predict the future. So one is opposite. Okay. What about 4? 4 is also opposite. What about 2? Using the latest technology, doctors could decipher the microbe causing the disease. This is not a prediction, right? So this is neither contradictory, neither supportive. So this is an irrelevant point. So 2 cannot be the answer. Right. And if you look at 3, students, this is something which supports the author's point. Right. This is supports, this is irrelevant, and this is contradictory, and this is also contradictory. I hope everybody understood this. So what should be the answer? The answer should be 1 and 4. Understood? So many people got it correct, I think, right? So 1 and 4 should be the answer. Everybody got it, I hope. Okay. So 2 nahi tha. 2 is basically about, it has got nothing to do with predicting the future. So it is simply an irrelevant line. Okay, right. So with that, we come to the end of today's session. And before we, end today's session, I think all of you know about this. The free lectures are all available in one place, right? You can find the link in the description, right? And you also know these are the courses which are coming up. Aniket, देखो the author says historians try to do नहीं historians sometimes try to do it and he says failure देखो अनिकेत एक मिनट historians try to I'll show you एक मिनट देखो historians try to predict look at this historians occasionally try their hand without notable success so कभी कभी करते हैं करना चाहिए लेकिन नहीं करना चाहिए because you cannot predict and he says that they fail ठीक है his aim is that they fail ठीक है his idea is that they fail anyway hope it is all clear moving on right so some information you can think of there are courses like these which you can think of taking up these are the teachers who who take your classes you all know about all of them right and these are the online classroom programs that we have right so you have two choices cat 2021 and 2022 so those of you who would like to go on a slightly fast track course can think of joining this and 2022 is also there right and last but not the least there is this Maharashtra CET of mega mock challenge for logical and abstract reasoning it will be live from 11th to 13th right so just take it as a last minute preparation for the exam so do not forget to like and share the session with that we come to the end of the session I will meet you again tomorrow with another article so till then have a nice time thank you everybody